Michael Jordan is a 99 overall on the current Chicago Bulls, but for every 200 baskets he scores, his overall is going to go down by 1. He's the all-star captain in year 1, and he's already scored almost 700 baskets, which means he's going to go down from a 99 to a 96. And for every single playoff win that he gets in a series, his overall will go back up by 1. And if he wins the finals, his overall will go up by 2. Year 1, he's an All-NBA second-team player and a defensive player of the year, but he scored more as the season went on, so he's down to a 94. Will that be enough to lead the Bulls to an NBA championship? Well, it's so far so good after the first round against the Philadelphia 76ers. And since he won that series, he gets a +1 upgrade. Then in round 2, we ended up beating the Pacers, but ultimately lost in the conference finals to the Boston Celtics. After the playoff run, Michael Jordan was still a 96 overall, and I forgot to mention, he was only on a 1-year deal with the Bulls, and he ended up signing with the Denver Nuggets in free agency on a 1-year, $1.9 million deal. I'm not exactly sure why he took so little money in free agency, but here he is in Denver with Nikola Jokic, the 2-time reigning MVP in real life. Even though his overall is down a bit, he is still playing well, which means his overall is going to go down even more. He is now a 92 overall at the All-Star break, and I made sure to adjust his peak start and peak end ages at this point, so that way we wouldn't hopefully see any natural regression. And despite him only being a 92, he's still All-NBA third, and after a successful season, he drops down to a 91. In the first round, we faced the Minnesota Timberwolves. We went down 3-1 in the series, and we were able to force a Game 7, but ended up losing to the 8th seed as the number 1 seed. Michael Jordan had a good playoff run, but after the playoffs, he decided to bolt and join the Atlanta Hawks. His first season in Atlanta was solid, averaging over 20 a game, but we saw him dip below a 90 overall for the first time in this video. He was still all defensive second team, but no All-NBA for MJ as he continued to get buckets, and we saw his overall go down just a little bit more. Now, after the play-in tournament, Michael Jordan is an 88 overall, and I could tell that Hawks team was going nowhere, so I forced a trade to the Memphis Grizzlies for Michael Jordan to pair up with Ja Morant so he would have a chance to compete. I didn't want this video just to be years and years of MJ missing the playoffs, because as his overall continues to go down, I figured it would be more and more difficult for him to carry teams. I mean, he's in the mid-80s as we head to the NBA playoffs with the Memphis Grizzlies, where we're a participant in the play-in. We were able to get in as the 8th seed and face the Houston Rockets, but our run was short-lived. We got swept, and we really need some playoff success, because although MJ's continuing to hoop, he's only an 85, and his stats continue to go down. We need him to get some playoff wins so that we can see him continue to up his overall. We can't just see this continue to go down. Once again, we were pretty much not in the mix when it came into the playoffs. We're down to an 83 overall, so I forced a trade to the Orlando Magic. I thought this team was one of the best teams in the league, and once I move MJ to point guard, he'll be the highest overall point guard on the team, which should give him an opportunity to get some playing time. Also, if you do go on to enjoy the video, I'd really appreciate if you consider subscribing. Anyways, after the season, we were 62-20. Michael Jordan was kind of just mid this year, but once we got out of the first round, that upped MJ's overall. Then we were able to get out of the second round, which means his overall went up even more. And this is exactly what MJ needed. His overall was rapidly going down, but now he's in the NBA Finals, which means he is up to an 84. And if we win this series where he's starting at point guard, Michael Jordan could get another +2 to his overall. We're up 3-2 in the series, and Mike was huge in Game 5. We have a chance to put him away in Game 6, and we do it. We're NBA champions, and Michael Jordan had 11-9 in the final game of the series. A solid playoff run for MJ, but more importantly, he is an 86 overall now. But going into the next season, he was gone from the Orlando Magic. He actually got traded to the Sacramento Kings. This was a really surprising move, and Michael Michael Jordan was now a part of a team with Scoot Henderson and Derek Lively II, two really good players, as Scoot was actually the MVP of the league. I don't think this team's as good as that Orlando team, but with Michael Jordan at an 87 overall, I think that there should still be a chance for this team to compete, even with him going down one after the season. Now, Michael Jordan in the first round ends up sweeping the Sacramento Kings, or wait, he's on the Kings, bro. He swept the Golden State Warriors, and that means his overall is up to an 87. In round 2, we're up against the Houston Rockets. We win in 6, so Mike is going up once again as he drops 13 points in the closeout game 6. He's had a solid playoff run so far. At an 88 overall, we're moving on to the conference finals to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. And the Timberwolves get the best of us in 7 games as Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the conference MVP. Mike had a good game 7. It just wasn't enough as Orlando repeats without him. Now, Mike was on yet another team the next season. He got traded from Sacramento, despite the fact that he was putting up good numbers on the year. As usual, his overall goes down some more, and we weren't even in the playoffs. Or so I thought. The CPU had actually traded Michael Jordan back to Orlando, so now Mike has a chance to win another ring. After the first 2 rounds, we win those series, and we're in the conference finals where we win once again, and Michael Jordan is having a good playoff run as a member of the Magic, and his overall is back up once again. In the NBA Finals, we're facing the Houston Rockets, where we win in 7 games, as Dyson Daniels gets a Finals MVP, and MJ drops 31 in the final game of the series. After the season, Michael Jordan ends up staying with Orlando, but gets traded once again to Indiana in the middle of the year. He was having a good season in Indiana, and they were actually in the playoffs. So overall, it was a solid season for him as we advance out of the first round, and Michael Jordan's averaging over 30 points per game at only an 87 overall. But he's getting a +1 because we did win that first round series. In round 2, we've got the Charlotte Hornets, who end up wiping the floor with us in a gentleman's sweep. Michael Jordan had a great run. He even kept up those first round numbers of over 30 a game, but we weren't able to get it done. So we ran it back another season in Indiana. Michael Jordan dropped down to an 87 at the All-Star break, and we were doing really bad. It looked like we had no chance at the playoffs, but even with 34 wins, we somehow were able to work our way into the play-in tournament as Mike drops down to an 86 overall at 38 years old. Hopefully we can at least get through this, but we aren't able to even do that. Mike decides to run it back one more year in Indiana. Hopefully we'll be more successful this year than last. The roster looks pretty solid as we were able to add Alperen Sengun, and Michael Jordan is still at 84. Not great, but he's pretty good still. And after the season, he drops to an 83. We are in the NBA playoffs as the number 5 seed, and we lose to Philadelphia. This playoff series was really rough for Michael Jordan. Mike averaged less than 10 a game as we lost in the first round, and he decided to call it a career. I would say he was pretty successful considering the challenge that he had. That's it for the video. Have a great day. Be sure to like and subscribe.